All right. Hello again, everybody. This is Matt Avery. I'm product manager for RaceDay scoring with RunSignup. Today I'm giving you another update on RaceDay scoring and where we're at with development and what issues we've resolved in the past month. So thanks for attending. We had a lot of issues that we addressed in April, so I'm just going to get started. So again, you can always follow along with our releases on the blog, racedayscoring.blog, and we have a release notes section under the About tab. You can also see all these updates as you make update in RaceDay scoring when you are given the notification that there's an update available. If you click on the update info, it'll show you the items that have been added in the next version that is available to you. So we're going to pick up on April 10th. That was our first update in April. So had quite a few things to go through here. So big thing was that we moved the top finishers setup to the age group setup page. So in the past, we used to have the top finisher settings in RaceDay scoring set on the report level. So you would have had to have gone into your report, click edit, and add in your top finisher categories here, things like overall, top male, female, masters, top male, female, those things. We, for many different reasons, moved it to the age groups page. It's a little bit easier to get to as you're setting up age groups. It makes sense that you'd want to set up your top finishers as well. So that's all now set up here. This is also setting us up for some features that we're going to be adding in the future that required it to be outside of the reports. So those will be to come. So now we also, along with this, realized that there was an issue with the way that top finisher settings were being saved and not updating all reports that it used. So now when you save top finisher settings, it's going to go through and see all the reports that rely on it and update the results within those reports. So this is helping with stability, making sure that all reports are lining up, results are the same for them. Next thing is we've added a really nice feature here, the ability to map events when you're importing participants. In the past, you had to have an exact match on the event name when you're importing. So now when you import participants from a spreadsheet, it will see if there's any event names that it sees in the spreadsheet that don't exist in RaceDay scoring already. It will ask you if you'd like to map them to another one. So if you had 5K run instead of 5K, you can just say, okay, any instance of 5K runs, actually, that's going to get imported into just the 5K event. So just an ease of use update there. We updated the age group position and gender position columns in the report view to be more condensed. So what that is in the overall reports, this age place column made it a little bit better looking, and especially when there are multiple placements. So first overall, first 25, 29. It's a little bit cleaner than what it used to be. We've added the participant count to the participant list view. So this is just now showing when you go into the participants list, once I have it set up. I might not have any in this race. No, I have some in here. So it'll show 39 participants. One thing to note is that this number is based on the filters that you have here. So if I went in and selected the 30 mile, I have 16 participants in the 30 mile, 21 in the 50 mile, 39 in there, 75, 76 actually overall, sorry. I had the 75 selected from beforehand. Okay. Moving on, added a checkbox to hide past races in the race list view. So I've been doing some updates to this list, and we now have the option to just hide any past races if you need to right here. Okay, so we fixed a major bug that was causing double dipping to always occur between top finisher categories and age groups. So as we were moving everything over to the age group setup, we fixed some issues with that. It was basically always showing overall finishers in their age groups as well. Fixed an issue with the connector indicator being wrong when it was shut down incorrectly. So basically the connector status right here wasn't being updated correctly when it was shut down, like if there was a crash or something like that. You fix an issue with RunSignup when you're logging in using the using RaceDay scoring. If you failed multiple times, it would crash the system. So we fixed that. We've updated the way that race imports are done. This is a pretty significant change. So this one, basically, we were doing it in a way that could potentially cause issues with some races. So we've changed it, and this should be a little more stable now if you're passing around exports and importing them. A few things just for stability, we improved the listing cleanup. So when you delete reports, it's just cleaning up things that it doesn't need to use anymore in the system. Just will keep the system running smoother and cause less conflicts. A small issue with the raw reads view label being hidden. There was a label next to a checkbox as being hidden in the UI. Fix an issue with the next and previous buttons on the race list view. In previous versions, if you clicked next or previous, it would just basically crash the system if you had nothing available. Fix an issue, changing scored event on scored group types and an event selector and scored groups view. This is just a few small bugs we saw when working on the scored groups. Fix an error message when importing a race with registrants who had already been loaded in this computer for the same race. So basically, if you imported a race twice, it was causing a bunch of errors to show. Fix that. All right, so moving on to the next update, April 19th. We now show an indicator if a race is today in addition to the existing values of upcoming and past. So we added these little indicators on the race list to say, you know, if a race is upcoming or past, but we just added one for today as well in the case that the race is actually on today. The race select dropdown, we've improved this greatly. So in the past, this dropdown was it was filtered based on the filter you had in the manage races list. So if you had this one with a search term in there or something like that, it was limiting this list as well. And also it would only show you the current page of results. If you had multiple pages, it would be kind of confusing when you're trying to select a race. In addition, this lets you just type in when you are trying to load a race. So you can just quickly search for the race you want to open and do it this way. So top finisher category improvements, just with the usability of top finisher categories, we no longer preload a default band when opening this up. It was a bit confusing when you have started a new race and you open up top finisher category settings. It seemed like you had the top 3 male-female band already created for you, but it was just that we had been opening up that as a default. That's the most common you might want to add. Now you have to actually click the add button and then it loads the defaults. Band jumping rules are now hidden for the first top finisher category that's created because those settings, they don't really have any meaning for the highest priority bands. They're just not necessary. So we removed that. And then we also selected the default band jumping rule to being all because that's the most commonly used one. Finally, on this update, we fixed a bug that caused an error when importing a race export that had participants without registration IDs. So that was a small issue we fixed. Okay, moving on, April 22nd, just a few things here. We now better indicate if the connector loses connection to a device when using direct connection stream types. So this is like if you are using a direct system stream where like a TCP/IP direct with IPECO or Trident, there'll be an indicator showing next to the stream name itself here, showing that it is connected or disconnected. So it'll be hopefully helpful to those who don't have middleware product like IPECO and Trident specifically, to let them know if a connection has been lost. It also will work for other direct systems like ChronoTrack or MyLapse if you're using TCP/IP exporter on those. Another one which is small but took a lot of work on our end is just package updates. These are all internal updates that we've done to get all the related software that we use in this product up to date to the most recent versions, so it helps us with compatibility and stability. We fixed a big bug that was causing recent reads list to freeze. So we were seeing that on the front dashboard, this recent reads list was not correct. It was basically stopping at some point and sticking there. So now you shouldn't see any issues with this anymore. It's like working a lot better. We also fixed a bug that caused the app to hang when deleting a scored read. So if you were going into the scored reads view and deleting a read here, it would cause the app to just freeze. And that's what we have for April so far. We are working on getting a release out this week. We have one major thing we want to get in before the end of the week before we put out a release. So should be seeing it by the end of the week. I'll just give you a quick overview of what's going to be in it. So on our roadmap here, I'll be able to walk you through the updates that are coming. So the biggest one is the updates to individual participant results view. So we've added a view on the participant record to show segment times. So if you go into a participant record for this race, it's a good example. There's a Grand Fondo that has multiple segments. This results panel has been updated, so now we show the times as well as placements. Before we just showed the placements and the scored reads here. So now we're showing the actual segment times and the cumulative times. So these are my different segments I had. They had three different segments compete over this Grand Fondo: Piketown, Moonshine, and Fairview. And these are the segment times for each of those, and then the cumulative times at those points. Again, we always have shown the placements for all the different types of listings here and the individual scored reads themselves here. And then another thing is we have found an issue when importing races that causes reports to be empty when editing, and we're working on a fix for this. Should have it by the end of the week. You may have seen it if you go into a report and try and edit it, and it shows up blank like this one. So that we've figured out what's going on. You should be able to edit a report and adjust it, but there's an issue causing that to not work. So we got a fix for that coming out in the next few days. And so another thing coming up on deck is we're working on, won't be in the next release, but it's in development right now, is working on supporting ignoring times collected on previous segments after the current segment has been completed. So this is like if you want to ignore start times from coming in after the race has finished for a single person, you could enable this feature, and it's going to ignore all the start times for people who have already finished. It also could do things like ignoring previous segments if they've completed a later segment. So if you had your cumulative distance all set correctly, you had a 3-lap 15K, you could say that you don't want to get another read on the 5K split map for a person if they've finished the 15K, for instance. And a few other things we are working on, supporting custom top finishers. We've been talking about doing this one for a while. Now that we've moved the top finisher category settings out from the reports and into the age groups, we're going to be moving on and working on this to allow you to set up a custom top finisher category to say that, for instance, I want the top 3 Clydesdales, the top 3 Athenas, which is based on a question response or something like that. So those are the major ones coming on deck shortly. And so that's what I have for you guys today. We'll keep in touch, and we'll be, putting out more and more releases, hopefully on a weekly basis. If you do want to follow along, you can always subscribe to our blog here. And thanks for listening, and talk to you guys later. Bye.